Oh yeah.
We still need that one.
No, Alex is on there, so we do 3, we're good.
Almost ready. All right, and we are live on YouTube. We are ready to go.
Let me get my agenda up here real quick.
I'm very sorry. I was stuck in a Zoom update.
Thanks, Liv.
Are we ready? Someone orient me. What are we up to here?
Yeah, we're ready.
Yep.
Ready. I was just pulling up the agenda and we'll go.
Yeah.
Jordan, you want to run? You want to run, Jordan? You got it.
I do have it up.
I'm on a roll. Go ahead, then, Mom.
What's that?
Oh, I pulled up the reminder link instead of the area. All right, let's call this meeting to order. We get a roll call of who is here this morning.
Member Bissell,
Here.
member Engels,
Here.
member Bicknell. She let me know that she may be late. Member Fry
Here.
and member Green.
Here.
We do have a quorum.
Okay, no public comment this morning. So we'll move on. I need a motion to approve the agenda for today.
Motion.
Hey, Alex.
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, need to, I just approved the consent agenda. What am I doing? Yeah. Sorry, let me just have a motion to approve the whole consent agenda. We did this last time.
So moved.
Okay, it's moved.
Second.
Second, all in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. No presentations today. Few action items. Mike, you want to talk about letters of support?
Yeah, so we end up becoming a tree city again for our 6th year, so that's good. We received that notification from State Department of Natural Resources. As such, we qualify for their grant programs for trees, and they have a historically large amount of money this year. Usually it's like only around 100,000 at the state level, and then everyone goes for the 100,000. This year it's about $1 million, because they've had like an unfunded act for the past 10 years called the Evergreen Act, and now they finally funded it. So you can turn in grant applications for up to like 40,000, and and you can turn in an unlimited number of them. They are due the end of this month though, so I need to get them out quickly. So the plan of action here is to turn in 2 of them, having to do with tree planting and irrigation work. One of them is for additional trees at Veterans Park, over in the Homestead subdivision. This would be very timely, because not this year, but the following year, we are getting the RCO grant to go put like some pickleball and basketball out out at Veterans Park, and trees were one of the things that were left. I mean, we've worked with Rotary, get a couple, but considering the size and there's like no trees out there, we need more. And then the second grant application is gonna be for a very large project. So next year, we're gonna tee up trying to reconstruct Majanier Road from College Avenue out to Blueview, and that'll be one of a couple of ways to get to the eventually the eventual school out that way, and there's gonna be a subdivision out that way, so it's gonna need street trees. Right now, there's no trees. So this would help to put some irrigation, and we estimate around 50 trees along Majanier Road. And we're trying to get any and all grants for Majanier because the latest estimate of what make it happen by me, latest estimate of reconstruct that thing is gonna be around like 8.6 million. And keep in mind, when we originally started with that conversation, we thought we'd be all in with engineering at like 4 million. So inflation's a pain. So yeah.
Well, I know Leif will probably say this, but we just, with the trees at the park, we just want to make sure we don't get them in front of the sledding hill.
Yeah.
So, okay, so the proposal is for 5,000 at veterans and 40,000 along the genre. So we need to, this is an action item, so we need to give approve Mike moving forward with this. So can I have a motion to support the community forestry assistance grant application?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, moved by Jordan. I need a second.
Second.
And second. All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, no opposed. Okay, the next is a draft drinking water hydration station policy approval. Mike?
Okay, Blue Zone staff worked on this and approached me with this, and it helps us, but then it also helps them to achieve the certification, each city needs like 3 policies in their framework, and we're at 2, so this would be the 3rd one. And basically what this says is that we would be installing hydration stations for like public parks or public spaces. I would say unofficially, we've been doing that for many years now, where we could. It just wasn't essentially a policy, and now it would be. The only one we're really missing hydration station at the moment would be Veterans Park, which with that YAF grant, that it's in there. And then as we take over that Autumn Meadows Park, which was not historically a city park, we need to add something out there. But that'll be in the all planning work, because the next meeting will have essentially a proposal going to start doing park planning for Perseverance and Autumn Meadows Park. But yeah, this just formalizes that we would include this in the various public space and park planning efforts.
Question?
Yeah.
Do they have any sort of standard sort of station design, or is it just like a drinking fountain, or is there anything more specific about what it means to have a hydration station other than that it must rhyme?
So with the state laws around hydration stations, typically, there is the top part for the water, but they design them now where you can put the water bottles under them, and then it's automatic. So to meet ADA specifications for parks and such, that is the standard water fountain design now.
Yeah, I don't see anything specs that it has to be anything into certain design, but just with those things. So I'll tell you the motion operate, activated water bottle stations are nice. We've had some we've had problems with those. Sometimes just the push buttons or have held up to our wear and tear in schools, but we've gone mainly with the automatic ones because it seems like the kids don't know what to do. That I'm like, there's a button right there. So, anyways. He says something else. Anyways. Okay, so any other questions on the drinking water hydration station policy? Does this need 2 readings? Or, I don't know.
This one, because it's merely a policy, it doesn't, you can make a recommendation out to city council, and that would be timely.
Okay.
Because Blue Zones is trying to get the 3 policies apiece over with both jurisdictions.
Okay, so is there a motion to approve this policy for drinking and water hydration stations at all public parks?
Moved.
So moved by Alex. Second? I'll second. Second by Jordan. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Go ahead and take that forward to city council, Mike.
Awesome.
Then we're on to reports, creative district update, Mike.
Okay, Athens and Creative District, if you could click on the PowerPoint and then we'll go through it. Yeah. So as you all recall, a year ago, we were having the discussion about starting to pursue the joint creative district, and now it's finally starting to get to critical mass where the application is going to get turned in this June. So I'll go over progress so far, but it looks like we're going to get across the finish line with this, which is going to open up a lot of opportunities. So one of the things the state makes you do, and keep in mind, we're looking for feedback on this because there's a steering committee of folks across both jurisdictions cobbling this together. So if you have better ideas for any of this, please let us know, because we need to get this in by the June timeline, mainly because we're trying to get this in effect for the new state biennium, so we can get a lot of grant funds and be the first in. So the name that folks have come up with to date on this, because that's one of the first works you have to do with the creative district, is Koala, which is a combination of College Place, Walla Walla, to show that it's essentially a joint district. Next slide. Okay, so this PowerPoint is prepared for a lot of folks that may have not heard of this to essentially get their buy-in. But the reason the state created this program, and then a lot of folks are opting into, is just that the creative jobs have grown annually about 3%, making it one of the fastest growing sectors. So they're trying to dedicate a lot of resources into this area. Next slide. This is the planning team as of right now on this joint creative district. So I'm on it, but then Art Walla is on it. So is Downtown Walla Walla Foundation, Little Theater, the city. And then thanks to the efforts of Downtown Walla Walla Foundation, they've actually helped pay for essentially a facilitator, because you actually have to do a full-on plan for this. Otherwise, the state won't let you in. So thanks to them for getting Rebecca Zanava on board to facilitate those efforts. Next slide. So creative district, this is just essentially the definition of it: a place to live, work, and visit. And it's a geographically defined area for culture and economic activity, and it's basically the heart of the community. Next slide. So this is going to look a bit different from the initial maps that I showed before you all. So the state, it turns out, is really, really, really picky about the format of creative districts. So the geographic area is essentially their legal definition, but you can have outside organizations that are still viewed as partner contributor agencies, and they're still part of it. But their big thing is that it has to be somehow unified and not overly unwieldy, to get into their program. And if you recall in the original maps, we pretty much had most of College Place in it, and then it went all the way out to community college. Well, because there's different bus lines for those various areas and the general size of it when they visited, the state was having major problems digesting that and pretty much said, we won't let you in with that boundary. So there was a lot of back and forth, but because you have that bus route that essentially goes up and down College Avenue and then Rose Street, they at least seem to buy off on this idea where they said, if you stick to that, we'll let you submit it. So you'll see that this existing boundary does cover Lions Park. It really in College Place starts over by Andy's Market at 12th and College, goes up to the University and then Wava and Rogers, and then it goes up along Rose. It takes in the area between like Rose and Spitzenberg, and then really it covers the area where the Foundry is at, Powerhouse Theater downtown, and then the Whitman College area. So we were able to add in as much as we could without turning off the state to the idea of the joint one. Because even with the joint one, we're the first one to actually pursue it at a joint level. So getting over the hump with them about, hey, we want to do this. At first there was like some hesitancy on their part, but doesn't say, can you truly not? And they were like, oh, well, no. And they saw that we were doing a lot of efforts already, so they finally backed off of that, but we did have to shrink the district some. So on our end, it cuts off at 12. And then in the wall end, it cuts over by around Park Street. So the areas around Community College and like the area by the airport that had to be cut out. Next slide. So again, just showing that we are working and stuff. So it makes sense to work together on it. In place, we have the emergency management, the district court that we work on, and then the fire training tower. And then in progress right now, we're doing broadband planning, the regionalization of wastewater potentially, and then the other big one. So that way we can get stores here a lot better and we aren't stepping on each other's feet as we are negotiating a sales tax sharing agreement between both jurisdictions on big box. It's over 25,000 square feet. Next slide. So draft vision that the group came up with, and this is going to be in the plan once the state accepts it. Art is always included and people are always included in art is what the group came up with. And then we're going to be having essentially outreach sessions at various community events really through the end of May, because you have to get community, they want to see it. There was demonstrated community buy-in and presentations, and then we can turn it into the state. Next slide. Draft mission: arts connect, celebrate, and support and bring vitality to our community, our economy. That was the draft mission statement that the group came up with. Next slide. And then draft values, the data on this. Social innovation, empathy, joy, inclusion, relationships, community, and serendipity on there. So that's the values to guide the operation of the district. Next. So draft goals, they really want to see what you're going to start to work on in the first couple of years. So and then over time as this thing grows, you can add additional ones. So goal number 1 is to develop a sustainable organization with diverse revenue streams. Because where it's landing is right now, you have to have a fiduciary for the this thing. To essentially initially get the grants and then work with the partner jurisdictions to get the money out the door. So the organization is gonna act as a fiduciary, and they actually have the staff and support to follow through. Is Arbor. They operate in both jurisdictions, and they're gonna dedicate a part-timer to because through our research efforts, it looks like about a month to run this thing with the state requirements. It's about like 2 hours a month, so not an extreme heavy lift, but there is some time. Goal number 2 is engage our community with collective involvement and continued buy-in. Big focus of this is the outreach to keep this going. And then goal number 3 is to support, develop, and grow our creative economy in Walla Walla and College Place. Next slide. So here's all the community engagement that is going to be going on until we turn this thing in. So there's focus groups. So I'm presenting this to you today. There was a presentation to Economic Development Commission. I know in talks with them, it does sound like they plan to be present at the block party that'll be forthcoming. And then also events over in Walla Walla and at both universities. And really, I know they'll be reaching out to schools as well to get them on board K through 12. They're going to be doing, Rebecca is going to be doing interviews with key stakeholders one-on-one about what they would like to see in this creative district and concerns they have. There will also be an online survey that is released as well in April, get buy-in, and then community meetings, getting back to the whole block party thing and other events that go on throughout both jurisdictions. Then when we get to June, that's when we need to fill in the application. A lot of it is pretty complete. We're I would say at the 90% line on it. And then by the summer and by the new biennium for the state, then it will become a reality, and then it'll open up the avenues for additional promotion and grants and so forth. Next slide. So this is in general how will it benefit the community. So really it's a grant tool, but then it's also a promotional tool because the state's starting to put a lot of money into advertisement through the new tourism arm and through WASDOT about putting signage up and really promoting that these creative districts exist. If you go to Olympia, there's now like a giant sign over there attracting people into theirs. So that's a big deal. And then also trying to attract artists and additional creative businesses, as well as supporting the ones we have, open funding opportunities, attract new investment. Trying to develop opportunities for affordable housing, live work, and makerspace. There is some grant programs that this opens up that essentially could help fund a makerspace around like arts and stuff, which would be great. Proactively develop our future, and then the increase in tourism and bringing new visitors to this area. Next slide. Next slide. Yeah, and the outline, I pretty much verbalized that there's a lot of grant sources that this opens up, that the state is tying to this. And right now, there's only about like 14 of these in effect at the moment. The newest one is out of Moses Lake, but I know Pullman is going for one. Kennewick already has one. And there's spans a pretty large geographic extent like ours. Theirs goes all the way from like Clover Island to like 10th and Washington. It links the downtown Clover Island. We did a site visit from them to try to frame ours. So that is it in a nutshell. So basically I'm opening this up to you all. If you have any initial thoughts, concerns, what are you excited about, or in general feedback?
I mean, if Kennewick has a week, we can't with that.
Anything, Alex or Leif, any feedback?
None from me.
I think this is neat. I mean, obviously access to additional grant funds is always a good thing, and being able to use them creatively to enhance this community beyond just artwork is an amazing thing, and I don't see any downsides for sure. It's awesome.
Yeah, I think tying into the, when you think about events and things that happen between our two cities, a lot of times there's an art-based component to them that is significant draw, and if maybe a better word be a glue, sort of, I think of music, I think performing arts with that, so I think it'll be a strong addition, so.
I can see where this could be good framework to build off of in terms of collaboration between the cities beyond this too, which is a cool thing. I think this is a great kind of easy way to ease into taking additional steps and bridge for that. So I'm excited for that.
And I think co-olive makes more sense than olico, so.
Well, yeah, and really the reason behind that, the naming of it is that the group want to be very purposeful about, I would say, the historical attitude of Valhalla being a little bit like the dominant one in the room over us, so they wanted to really be purposeful about this one, that no college places in this too, and he has an equal voice. Yeah,
That's great.
yeah.
Any other comments? Okay, community events update, Evan?
Yeah, let me get back here. All right. So we've got some community events. I'm Athen. I'm the new events coordinator and deputy city clerk and market manager for the farmers market. So what we've got coming up in May is going to be a busy month. May 25th is kickoff for the farmers market, and we are taking in applications for vendors and sponsors. So if you know someone or are someone, hit me up and I'll get you that application. Then we've got Spring Fling is happening Mother's Day weekend. That's May 12th through 14th. That's not put on by us. That is by a third party. And that's happening in Kiwanis Park this year. It's 3 days long, and they run a successful Spring Fling. That's what it is.
They've been out talking with us, so.
Yeah, excellent. They're gonna have a camel this year.
I heard that.
Is
Is
he?
that the Dayton Camel?
Yep.
Whisper Camel?
Yeah.
Also in May 21st is gonna be Block Party. That is put on by us in partnership with the PD and in cahoots with Walla Walla University. That's gonna be Sunday the 21st on College Avenue, right there between the two halves of the university. And we plan to line all 4 blocks of 4th Street to Whitman Drive with vendors and activities. We'll have live music on a big stage and performances. And that's gonna be 1 o'clock to 6 o'clock. And then moving into summertime, June through August, we're gonna have 4 movies in the park. That's gonna be at Kiwanis Park as well. And we're still looking for sponsors for that. So I'm always accepting sponsorship for movies in the park and the popcorn that comes with it. And then Freedom Festival, Fall Festival, and Winterfest are all still gonna happen, and we'll have more updates on those as those dates get closer. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions or comments or ideas.
Any questions from the group?
Yeah, I've got a question. Nice presentation, very well done. Curious, do we have commitments on the location of the farmers market? Do we know where we're gonna be?
Yes, yeah, so with the construction going on for the facelift at Lions Park, we will be here at City Hall and out in the parking lot Mostly in front of the PD and fire department, and then right in front of City Hall will be parking. We'll also open up street parking on those Thursdays. So yeah, we'll be here for the year and then back to Lions Park next year.
Okay, hey, Mike, I don't know, we can talk about this later, but I know we talked about maybe seeing if there was another venue. Is it too late for any of that? I've actually had some, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, so the issue we were running into is that with the state agencies, we have to file various licensing for this thing, and we have to put down an address, otherwise they were gonna hold up our permits. Because we have SNAP, EBT, and then we have other things as well. So we needed to dedicate it to a physical address, so that's why we had to make the decision to put it here, because they had to tie into an address, otherwise they wouldn't run it through their process. And then I'll just say, I did outreach to various parties on other sites. But I'll just say some of the time processes associated with that, we're gonna derail the process on the state licensing. So that's why we're at the decision point we're at.
Okay, that's understandable. I would hate to see the farmer's market lose its momentum, but I have seen had some informal discussions with members of the supporters who have been attending, or vendors, and there's a pretty significant undercurrent of what should we say, difficulty in accepting the spending the time to be in a parking lot. I might suggest if we have some ideas about how to improve, if it looks like we are going to be there, at City Hall, what can be done to improve the shade situation and sort of provide a paradigm shift for those who have reservations about attending, because of the the heat situation, general misery and suffering with that venue. That would be, I think, really smart thinking and trying to make it as good as possible. Because I've heard some really severe judgments about the possibility of being there. And I'd hate for that to impact the momentum that the farmers market has enjoyed. And so might want to just think about that one a little bit. Could we put up some kind of a tent? I mean, what can we do to make this venue more attractive and more pleasant?
Athens been working on that, so Athens.
Yeah, no, we've done really extensive research into this, because exactly what you said. I mean, I agree, I don't want to be in a parking lot, but that is our only option. Kiwanis Park is not optimal due to the lack of electricity and the fact that some of our vendors need electricity to do their goods and services. And so this is the best option. And frankly, it's only going to be miserable a couple weeks out of the 19 weeks that we have the farmers market. And so that's disappointing that it might ruin the whole thing for some people because of that. But I digress. But we have looked into tents and canopies, and we are doing misting stations, but the shade aspect of it is, I couldn't get a lot of momentum from that. It is a lot of money and a lot of work, because we would need about 10 to 15 large tarp like canvas, I don't know what they're called, net shades, and it's really not in the budget. We don't have the manpower to set those up every Thursday. We looked at the party rental ones you can get from Sandy's U Rent, the big huge ones, and those are very expensive. And it's just how can we cover an entire parking lot sustainably and realistically. So we will be doing misting stations and, hopefully our supporters support us in this one-off year. And then next year we can get back to normal.
Better than normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, and that's great. I really, that's encouraging to hear. I wonder if there's something like, we're talking about how Alliance Park is going to, be transformed, and part of that is a water feature. I don't know, is there some way that we could, maybe think outside the box, have a small water area that is temporary, that's sort of a preview, kids could play in or something? I don't know. I just know that the heat factor is a significant problem for many people. And the misting stations, I think, will help. I'm just throwing out ideas here because I really love to see the kind of things that happen at the farmers market, the tone that it sets for the community, the participation that we've enjoyed. These are all really great things for our community. And if there's something that we can leverage in this other location, that would make it somehow, tolerable and sort of previewing of what it is that we're gonna be doing. And hey, this year we're here, next year we're there. Yeah, I'm throwing that out there because of what I've heard feedback, the feedback I've heard about it, with people finding out that it's going to be in the parking lot again.
It feels like that makes a lot of sense. I mean, just for the city to be doing a little bit of proactive marketing about, because I think that, we obviously as a group know a lot about Lions Park.
Yeah.
I think the community as a whole knows
Yeah.
very little about it, about what's happening. So making that really be the forefront of this season about, why it's moving, that is short term, and let it lead into the excitement of what's to come. I think that will take some pressure off from people, and maybe even pivoting some of the focus to the vendors themselves. Like these people who are coming out here, it's about their livelihood as well. So we're coming out to support the community, to be a part of things and to enjoy ourselves, but to support small businesses in our community as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it's even a possibility, but I was thinking, something that throws a lot of shade is, if you were to station our ladder truck up with, even with a big giant American flag,
Yeah.
it would cast
True.
shade clear across this parking lot, be kind of a cool sort of opening statement. I was just thinking, because we did that for the they did that over Myra.
Yeah.
When the officer returned.
Yeah.
And it was amazing how much shade that big
Crazy
Flag.
yeah.
created for probably 150 people that were kind of gathered. So I don't know, may not be possible, they may not want to tie up the trucks, but certainly you could sort of create an artistic, venue that people might appreciate.
Yeah.
I hate to tell you this, but that's not how the kids use the term throw a little shade.
True. Right on.
Well, that's the kind of creative thinking though, Jim, that I think is going to help make a breakthrough on this. And I would suggest maybe making some outreach to people who are vendors, just to sort of listen to what the reservations are. I don't know. I don't know how many vendors we're talking about over the last couple of 3 years. But I would think it would be less than, I don't know, maybe 100. It might be good to just touch base with some of those if we know how to get a hold of them, if we have extra time or something. I know it looks like nobody has anything else to do, right? But touching base and seeing, hey, what can we do to improve the scenario? Are you planning to attend? What can we do to make your situation better? Hey, were you aware that we're going to be doing this and this and this? And can we send you the packet? We'd like for you to be involved. You've been a good participant in the past. And we have some great things planned for the following year. We want to keep the momentum up. That might be time well spent, at least for a core set of people. Because otherwise, you could lose critical mass, and that is going to take time to rebuild.
Yeah, so I've actually already done all of that. Yeah, I'm already in touch with all of the vendors. We are pretty far into the vendor ask. I mean, and I've also already sent a survey out to the community and all of the vendors from the past 3 years, asking for ideas and asking what day and time they prefer. And there were some options on changing the day and the time of the farmer's market. And the most popular choice was Thursdays 4 to 7. So that did encourage our choice to stay where we are and when we are. So I did send out a survey and yeah, no realistic ideas from that. But if we want to, I'd love to keep y'all in touch and have a little committee here. If you have ideas and ways to fund those ideas, then we can kind of be in cahoots. Because I've done some extensive research and worrying about this. Yeah.
I think to me though, kind of like I mentioned, I think sending out some communication into the rest of the community about what's coming in this like the short-term window and the amazing thing that's coming to this community, I think would serve a lot of good, because I find people day after day that had no idea what was going on in the park, and when they hear about it, they're ecstatic, and you know, I think that buys a whole lot of goodwill. I think it's kind of neat that a lot of people don't know until now, because we can, you know, kind of leverage that in this communication about the farmers market and really helping people understand why it's such an important thing to support.
Yeah.
And there's, you know, some opportunity, I think, to create a little traffic at the same time.
Yeah, I echo what Jordan said. I think in earlier his point of the why we're not there, and then why we still have this important community event is sort of twofold reason to hit kind of the larger, broader community.
Yeah, we're pulling articles about that in the newsletter. It goes out with the utilities and stuff, and it'll go on the social media too, so people will know.
It would be good to get the, you know, at least with the park and stuff, when it's at a point where it makes sense to get it into the UV and some other places too, because they're just the reality of people in busy lives are, they don't look at most of that stuff as much as we want them to.
Plus the age spectrum. I think a good UV article reaches a demographic that you won't hit with social media.
And people outside of College Place that are still impacted by the use of the park, so. And potentially the interest in the farmers market as well, obviously.
Sure.
Yeah, in early May, I am planning to do a press release that does focus on why we are temporarily displaced, and that we are still moving forward and we're still going to support these vendors.
I just think the big piece to add to that really is, let the presentation of the update of the park be a big part of it, because it's going to create even more goodwill and excitement, I think, too.
And the plan is that we will put more misters in, because that year when we did move it over, I will say, I think a big part of why it was faltering too is for the size of the market at that juncture. We only had one mister at the front for a city hall. So we're gonna try to be a little more open with that. And then again, if anyone either has additional big tents or no one funds to get stuff like that for it, and volunteers that will accept them, you know, that.
I'm gonna open up fire hoses.
Well, we talked about having
Solid.
the water truck come spray the parking lot. The problem with that is on really hot days, we need that to be done by before 1 o'clock, because we gotta start setting up. And so by 4 o'clock, it's gonna be dry.
Okay, any other comments?
It's plain that people care about this. This is a community event that people care about. So I just want to say thank you for your efforts in trying to get this to work. And I know that people care about this thing. So good luck. I know that we're, you know, the people in the community want to know what's going on with this and will care specifically when the event's going on. But thank you for the effort towards this. I think it's a good thing for the community.
Yeah, I want it to be successful and grow and whatnot. And I hate that this is my first year and we're dealing with this.
That's all right. My first year was COVID year, so
Oh.
it's just sometimes you get dealt things and it'll be stronger because of it. So yeah, I agree. The thoughtfulness that you've shown in reaching out and doing all those things already is great, and continue just to make sure that we drive home why we're there and why we're there, right?
Yeah.
Physically and philosophically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, wall tourism advertisement.
Yeah, so please click on this document. So one of the things I've made sure we're always included in since I got here is the Visit Walla Walla document. So believe it or not, like in years prior, they didn't even like acknowledge that like College Place existed. So we're on the front page, it didn't even say it, now it does, and then now we actually have like a spread in there with businesses sponsoring, and we've had it for the last couple of years. So as you can see, this is the ad for this year for the general visitors into our jurisdiction, so.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So. Any feedback? Nice job. Yeah, way to put us in the booklet.
Yeah.
I think that was a perception when I moved here, that was starting to get undone, but like they're just one and the same, right? It's like if you say Walla Walla, you assume College Place, but because we have distinct personalities and doesn't make it oppositional. I mean, it makes it collaborative.
Well, exactly. I mean, the part in some of the older magazines I was shocked with is like Walla Walla, Dayton, Waitsburg, and Milton had it's like owns Milton Freeway. They all had their own spreads, and like we actually weren't even in there. So now we do.
Okay, are there any other comments? All right, next meeting scheduled for May 26th. Got items, those to Mike, and then we are ready for a motion to adjourn. So moved.
You got a second?
We got a second. All in favor, say aye.
All right.
All right, meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Thanks, Leif. Hey, Leif.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you a call, set up timelines for the May newsletter.
We are ready.
Okay, I'll give you a shout.
Thanks.
Thanks.
See ya.
Bye.
When does it get that on the recording? When does construction start?
So construction is actually probably gonna. I'm putting pressure on ecology. The hold up is now being either 4 or 5.